TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel urges world powers not to revive the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran amid the resumption of indirect talks between the Islamic Republic and the United States in Vienna. A forward intelligence vessel of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards was struck in the Red Sea yesterday in a commando attack attributed to Israel. An attempted coup in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan has been averted after former Crown Prince Hamza bin Hussein publicly repledged his allegiance to the King Abdullah II and his Crown Prince Hussein bin Abdullah. A nuclear-armed Iran would be an existential threat to Israel and a very significant threat to the security of the entire world. Speaking at a Likud party meeting after the swearing-in ceremony of the 24th Israeli Parliament, or Knesset in Hebrew, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu urged world powers, including the United States in particular, not to return to the 2015 nuclear deal, which the Israeli leader labeled as dangerous.
הסכנה שאיראן תחזור, והפעם בהסכמה בינלאומית, למסלול שיאפשר לה לפתח ארסנל גרעיני, הסכנה הזאת מונחת לפתחנו. ממש בימים אלה. אסור לחזור להסכם הגרעין המסוכן עם איראן, כי איראן גרעינית היא איום קיומי על מדינת ישראל, ואיום גדול מאוד על ביטחון העולם כולו.
In parallel, Netanyahu stressed Israel will continue to take action against the fanatical regime in Iran based on a core principle which guides the Jewish state.
במקביל אנחנו חייבים להמשיך לבלום את התוקפנות האיראנית באזורנו. והאיום הזה הוא לא דבר תיאורטי. אני אינני משמיע אותו מן השפה ולחוץ. אנחנו מוכרחים לפעול מול המשטר הקנאי באיראן, שפשוט מאיים למחוק אותנו מעל פני האדמה. בערב יום השואה אני חוזר על העיקרון היסודי שמנחה אותנו. תמיד נדע להגן על עצמנו, בכוחות עצמנו, מול מבקשי נפשנו.
Netanyahu's remarks came amid renewed efforts by Russia, China, France, Britain, and Germany to revive the JCPOA, or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which is the technical term for the 2015 nuclear deal, by deliberating a viable roadmap for Iran to abide by international restrictions on its nuclear program in exchange for relief from crippling sanctions that were imposed on the Ayatollah regime under the Trump administration. As part of these efforts, Iran and the United States agreed to hold preliminary indirect talks, which commenced in the Austrian capital Vienna yesterday.
I think it was constructive and in the right track. It's too soon to say that it has been successful. That would be known after the work of the working groups. But of course we are hopeful. If we were not hopeful, we would have not been here. We would move based on our own policies, on our own instructions.
The Iranian chief negotiator further revealed that the United States had already offered an initial proposal for Iran to suspend its enrichment of uranium to 20% fissile purity in return for the release of $1 billion. However, Tehran rejected Washington's offer, reiterating that unless the US lifts all sanctions against it, the Islamic Republic will continue to abide by its own interests vis-à-vis its nuclear program.
We only go back to full compliance when the US has lifted all sanctions imposed or reimposed or relabeled after January 2017 and has verified by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Then we would go for full compliance. So we have to make it clear that this is our position, but we are quite serious. I have come here to do business, but I doubt that there is the same seriousness in the other side. If the US is serious, they should be prepared to lift all sanctions that they have imposed or reimposed against Iran. And after verification, we certainly go back to full compliance.
Despite Tehran's seeming obstinate attitude, Washington regards the indirect discussions in Vienna as constructive.
These discussions in Vienna, even though we are not meeting directly with the Iranians, as we have said, it is a welcome step, it is a constructive step, it is a potentially useful step as we seek to determine what it is that the Iranians are prepared to do to return to compliance with the stringent limitations under the 2015 deal, and as a result, what we might need to do to return to compliance ourselves.
Price further emphasized, however, that the United States will not unilaterally lift sanctions on Iran at a time when the Islamic Republic's nuclear program is far beyond levels needed for civilian application. Separately, the Biden administration remains adamant once Iran and the United States jointly return into compliance with the JCPOA to both lengthen and strengthen the deal beyond concerns related to its nuclear-related activities.
We have talked about mutual resumption of compliance with the JCPOA as a necessary but insufficient step, because we have also talked about, once we are there, working on what we are calling a longer and stronger deal, using the original JCPOA as the baseline for those discussions, but then not stopping there. Because we have also made no secret of our other profound concerns with Iran's behavior, Iran's malign activity in the region. That includes its support for terrorism, it includes its ballistic missile programs, it includes the activities of its proxies. All of these are issues that not only the United States, but also together with our allies and many of our partners, that we seek to constrain. So that will be the broader effort here.
Turning to the Red Sea, where an Iranian vessel named Saviz was struck yesterday in what multiple reports claim to be an Israeli retaliatory strike for previous Iranian attacks on Israeli commercial vessels in the Gulf of Oman. While TV7 could not immediately confirm Israeli responsibility, intelligence officials confirmed that the Saviz, even though registered as a cargo ship, was in fact a forward offshore intelligence vessel operated by the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Navy. Subsequently, the IRGC naturally blamed Israel for the attack, saying that the explosion on the Saviz was caused by limpet mines. Turning to Israel's eastern neighbor Jordan, where domestic crisis came to an end after the kingdom's security apparatus forced the former Hashemite Crown Prince Hamza bin Hussein and a number of his closest associates into house arrest over the weekend. In what sources in the royal court in Amman classified as a plotted coup, Prince Hamza's forced confinement came after he held a number of meetings with powerful tribal leaders in the kingdom who allegedly spoke out against the rule of the King Abdullah II.
تابعت الأجهزة الأمنية عبر تحقيقات شمولية مشتركة حثيثة قامت بها القوات المسلحة الأردنية، الجيش العربي، ودائرة المخابرات العامة، ومديرية الأمن العام على مدى فترة طويلة نشاطات وتحركات لسمو الأمير حمزة بن الحسين والشريف حسن بن زيد وباسم إبراهيم عوض الله وأشخاص آخرين تستهدف أمن الوطن واستقراره. ورصدت التحقيقات تدخلات واتصالات شملت اتصالات مع جهات خارجية حول التوقيت الأنسب للبدء بخطوات لزعزعة أمن أردننا الشامخ.
With broad international support, including from Europe and the United States, King Abdullah appointed his uncle, Prince Hassan, who convinced the estranged Prince Hamza to sign a letter in which he publicly committed himself to the king and his crown prince, Hussein bin Abdullah. According to the head of the Jordanian Senate, former Prime Minister Faisal al-Fayez, the plot to perpetrate a coup is not strange to the Hashemite kingdom.
الأردن مستهدف دائما، يعني الأردن على مدى تاريخه مستهدف، وهناك أيدي خارجية طبعا تلعب دور في زعزعة الاستقرار، لكن هذا بلد دولة عميقة، الأردن دولة عميقة، دولة ثابتة راسخة بقيادة جلالة الملك، ولا يمكن أن يستطيع أحد أن يزعزع الاستقرار في هذا الوطن.
In response to the incident, senior Israeli officials voiced satisfaction that the crisis has come to an end. One security official who spoke to TV7 on condition of anonymity emphasized the fact that Jordan's stability is a strategic interest for Jerusalem, since it is directly intertwined with the security of the State of Israel. Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7 Israel's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up the Kingdom of Jordan in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, and for all those who are impacted by the numerous ramifications of the corona crisis worldwide. Separately, I would like to thank all of you who partner with TV7 Israel, since your monthly support, both by means of prayer and finance, is of vital importance for our ongoing operations. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Tov U'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.